Good morning and welcome to Frank's School. This is the 66th day of the 7th year of Frank's School, the first video of today and the only one today. Here's a July update on what's going on here at the Camp Ranch campus of Frank's School. I'm beginning it. I'll at least have one more video before I'll feel it is updated. I've been getting a lot done. Suddenly in 2 months I got so much done. There was a catch though, but my heart started to act up again. I didn't even know. But when I went for my checkup, they said, hey, your heart's going fast, and etc. So my health, once again, is in question. I hadn't been taking any medicine at all. I've had to change that. Well, I think that that's going to be okay. My biggest concern is I don't want to stop all this activity. My animals, for the most part, are quite healthy, and that really helps. Well, the season spiral, I always talk about that spiral. It just doesn't wait. It keeps coming. I mean, this is July, whether we're ready or I'm ready or not. That race continues. Can't say I'm right up to speed with it, but not too bad. That great burst of growth is coming to an end. It happens in June. I think a lot of the green ends up going into seeds, and it kind of slows up a little bit, which helps a little bit, but the world just ends up looking completely different. If you don't mow everything, which I don't, the world just, you can't even see where your feet are. The hay is in. My neighbor does the hay basically for me, and the hay is in the barn. That's done, which is some years it's the end of August, and I worry if I got enough hay. I've got 3 pigs now. I think I might have only had 2. I don't know. They're settled in. They're the neighbor's pigs, but I'm taking care of them. There's 3 gilts, and now the question is, shall we get a boar in there? I mean, he wants to have baby pigs, but artificially inseminate or get a boar in. I think I can handle a boar. I think so. Anyway, they're settled in. Now, what I have been doing is, I call it decommissioning. It's taking things apart. One of the things I didn't write on the board here, but I maybe should have, is that a worry of mine, as I'm getting older and my health is not what it was, I worry that if everything is just all half done and incomplete and leaning this way and that way, the impulse is going to be to just get a bulldozer and push it all together and burn it. Which I could sympathize with that, because another person might not know, what do you do with all this stuff when it's in that kind of condition? So actually, in decommissioning things, that's cheered me up to some extent, because I know, well, here's something that is I've taken care of, and I've sorted it back into materials which can be used. But it is for, I am unbuilding, but it is for rebuilding. I'm taking everything down, and I'll putting this in context. I've set myself a schedule of, this would be now, it's April, May, June, the 3rd month's done, in getting the set ready for this imaginary movie that I have called Resurrection. Filming would begin, if it ever begins, it would begin in April of 2020, and this village would be what is resurrected, and so it is for rebuilding the village, and I'm setting the stage. Really, I'm getting everything ready so that it actually could be rebuilt quite fast. This is sort of the slow work, to do this cleaning up and getting things ready, and largely because this is review. I've said about this before. All these folk huts, and there's about 30. They were all 5 inches too short to have living roofs, and so I had to take them all the way down to the ground, set them out again 5 inches longer, and then rebuild them. That decommissioning is almost complete. I've now visited almost every single spot. Maybe I have, no, not quite. The ones in the woods I haven't, but probably over 20. I have, certainly. And this time, as I'm getting them ready and getting them leveled, there will be a floor, and it'll be packaged in that I'll have impermeable, thick plastic over them, so they'll be protected from the weather and they can wait. And I'm using the material that is generated. I've explained this before. By taking this stuff down, the material is mostly what isn't good I'm using is weights in the gardening, the wood. But the good wood, and there's lots and lots of it, I'm using for the floors. I've said about that elsewhere. And I really want to use that material up before I start to buy new material. I'm kind of jumping around now maybe a little bit. Maybe that's what I have mostly been doing. Uh, Not unpleasant work at all. The gardening, that gardening is a matter of catching up to it too. I'd suggested earlier that I'm gardening arguably an acre, petrol free, no engines, no gasoline. And now I'm ready with this extreme mulching that I do. I'm ready now to do what I'm going to call a summer planting. It's really awfully late to be putting certain plants in, but I'm going to put some in anyway. So that's going on. Now, another thing, the suburban folk hut, I guess that's what I'll call it. This young friend of mine, a college student, David, he is building, and I've said about this earlier, he's building a folk hut smack in the middle of a suburb or an upscale neighborhood of Bedford. And that's going actually very well. He's a perfectionist and he does much better work than I do, but slower. Well, I have to remind myself, he's building one, I'm unbuilding and then building about 30. So there's a difference here. But anyway, I'm learning a lot from him, and fortunately he is doing such good work. A new kind of pallet, for example. He found a source for a new kind of pallet, same dimension, a little thicker, very, very strong, and I can get them for free as well. So that's been going on. Phipps Conservatory. Well, Phipps is a conservatory in Pittsburgh, and what happened was I don't know how it was. I guess I'm not sure how it was. I noticed it on the internet, but they have a display about Van Gogh. It's worth looking at, and in their display that they've got, they have a sort of a mock-up, a prop of a building, of a hut or a house, actually it would be in Europe, with a living roof, a steep living roof. And when I saw that, I thought, whoa, that's what we're building. And I contacted them, and they got back to me. And so there's a conversation back and forth here between people who are building and designing living roofs, at least in Pennsylvania. And me, and they're interested. They want to see how this goes. And my book, well, I haven't written more to the book. The book called Building Folk Huts with Pallets: A New Vernacular Architecture. But I have alerted people to it, and I've sent drafts out, and I would send you a draft. If you just give me your email, I'd be happy to email you a draft of the book. I even have a potential publisher, but I would say it's going to be this winter before I could say that I finished the book. But I would be very happy to have it published as a first edition in draft. All right, now finally, this is exciting. A man from Hong Kong had contacted me earlier, and he has recontacted me. He's an eye doctor. And he would like to come here in August and spend a month with his two sons, who are, I'm going to say they're on average about 10 years old or 12. He wants his sons to learn English from me. He wants his sons to be near animals, and they want to be near animals as well. And he has said he would help do the stuff that I'm doing. Well, this is potentially so exciting. From Hong Kong, though, in a sense, I think, well, maybe this is like ecotourism. He just had found me online and thought, I'd like to go there. Well, he had not contacted me for about 3 months, and I thought he'd given up on it for this year. Well, there had been a death in the family, and there were reasons for that. But anyway, he's going to decide whether or not to come in August. And am I ready? Well, I wasn't ready in the spring, and I'm still really not ready. But could that happen? Maybe. But because of that, I've had to sort of suddenly change what I'm building. I need to have, in effect, a latrine, an outhouse. And so I almost immediately turned my attention to building that. That's something that I knew I had to do, but I'd put it on a back burner. And the Gasthaus or guest house, well, it's time now to be turning my attention to that, because that's where in the downstairs of it, that's where the animals will be, and me possibly too. And I've got to come up with an easier way to make it through winter than last winter. So I should be turning my attention to that. But if the man comes, I've got to come up with a way to house them. And I'm really kind of amazed that he's willing to do this. But we'll see what happens. And I'll have more to say about that in the next one. This has just been the first of probably 2, maybe 3 update videos. Bye for now.